Have you ever wondered what it would actually feel like to live on another planet? Not just visit, but truly live there. Wake up there, try to make breakfast there, complain about the weather, get sand in your boots. Yeah, it's going to be that kind of night. And just before we begin, if you enjoy these slow, weird, sleepy explorations, and you'd like to gently float through more of them, consider subscribing to the channel. So let's start with Mercury. If you were to open your eyes and find yourself living on the planet Mercury, your first thought might be, well, this is awkward. Because Mercury, you see, is not the kind of place that welcomes visitors. It's more like the kind of planet that says, I've been alone for billions of years and I'd like to keep it that way. There's no air to breathe, not even a whisper, just silence. A heavy cosmic silence that stretches from horizon to horizon. And the sunlight? Oh, it's not just warm. It's like standing a few centimeters from a cosmic blowtorch. Because Mercury is so close to the sun, it's 10 times brighter than Earth's sunlight, and far, far hotter. In the daytime, temperatures can soar to over 800 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to melt lead, and probably any dreams you had of sipping tea on the balcony. But let's say, just for the sake of sleep-time imagination, that you had the kind of suit that could handle it. A cool, protective suit that hums softly around you, shielding you from the inferno. You'd still need to move slowly, carefully, because Mercury isn't just hot. It's also extremely rocky, rugged, and pockmarked with craters. Picture the moon, but with more attitude. It's like walking across an ancient battlefield, where the universe once threw rocks for fun. You'd step over jagged ridges and dusty plains, under a sky that's just black. Deep space black, because Mercury has no atmosphere to scatter sunlight like Earth does. So even during the day, the sky stays inky and dark. And yet, the sun looks enormous, more than twice the size it appears from Earth, blazing, watching you, almost as if it knows you're there. Now here's the strange part. If you wait long enough, if you stand perfectly still on the surface, it will get cold, terrifyingly cold, because Mercury doesn't spin like Earth. One full day on Mercury, from one sunrise to the next, takes 176 Earth days. That's a lot of time for one side of the planet to bake, while the other freezes. At night, the temperature can drop to minus 300 degrees Fahrenheit, so you'd go from frying like bacon to freezing like a popsicle. So where do you live? Maybe underground, deep below the surface, in tunnels carved out by robots or imagined alien civilizations, where it's safe from the extremes. A Mercury home wouldn't have windows. There's nothing to look at except endless dust and the sun glaring in judgment. But maybe, just maybe, you'd have a little monitor showing live footage of a crater outside, just to feel connected, to know you're not completely alone. There would be no birds, no breeze, no rain, just a deep low hum of your own breathing in the suit, and maybe the faint static of space if you listened hard enough. But you begin to notice things. The gentle glow of solar radiation dancing along the horizon. The way the ground seems to shimmer as heat rises like ghosts. The stillness that makes your heartbeat feel like thunder in your ears. And time on Mercury would feel different, slower, like the whole world is paused. Maybe that's the beauty of it. A planet that forces you to stop, to be still, to notice every crack in a rock, every change in shadow, every golden shimmer of light. And when you finally lay down in your underground Mercury bed, perhaps shaped like a soft cocoon to help you sleep during your 88 Earth Day orbit, you might close your eyes and whisper, "This planet is a terrible place to live, but a wonderful place to fall asleep thinking about." Because Mercury isn't made for humans, but it is made for dreams. Dreams of strange skies, dreams of ancient rocks, dreams of silence so perfect it sounds like peace. You feel as if you have stepped inside a vast glowing orb, where time slows and every moment stretches wide and calm. Beneath your feet, the ground is a tapestry of textures and colours, unlike anything you have ever felt. The soil crumbles gently under your steps, soft and powdery, yet solid enough to hold you like a gentle cradle. Around you, the craters and ridges rise and fall like ancient sleeping giants. their curves softened by the lingering dust that cloaks them in a silken haze. As you move through this quiet landscape, your fingers brush against smooth rocks warmed by the sun's tender touch. The heat pulses faintly beneath the surface, like a slow heartbeat echoing through the planet's core. You close your eyes briefly and feel the steady rhythm, a comforting thrum that lulls you deeper into the stillness. The air you breathe inside your suit feels crisp and cool, a soft contrast to the gentle warmth outside. You imagine the whisper of the solar wind far above, a silent river of particles flowing endlessly across the heavens, caressing the surface like an invisible breeze. Though Mercury has no atmosphere like Earth's, you sense a subtle energy here, a quiet vitality that hums beneath the silence. It fills you with a feeling of connection to this ancient world, as if you have become part of its endless story. You settle onto a smooth plateau where the sunlight pools like molten gold, and you feel the warmth seep slowly into your skin. It is not harsh or overwhelming, but mellow and indulgent, like a bath of liquid sunshine melting away all tension and worry. You lean back and let the heat cradle you, soft and unrelenting, as your gaze drifts lazily across the horizon. The landscape glows with shades of amber and bronze shifting gently as the light moves in slow, endless arcs. It feels as if the whole world is wrapped in a warm, comforting shawl spun from sunlight and dust. The silence here is profound, deeper than any silence you have known. It is a silence that does not demand your attention, but invites you to rest within it. Your thoughts grow quiet, your breath slows, and you feel a gentle heaviness settle over you. Time seems to stretch and fold like soft fabric, wrapping around you in a gentle cocoon of stillness. You close your eyes and imagine drifting slowly through this glowing sea of warmth, weightless and serene, cradled by the planet's ancient embrace. Far off you notice shadows creeping across the craters, stretching their long fingers as the sun moves steadily along its path. The shifting light paints the landscape with soft contrasts, revealing hidden textures and gentle folds in the dust. You imagine the slow dance of day and night here, a rhythm of extremes softened into a steady, comforting pulse. The cold will come soon enough, but for now, you are wrapped in the golden glow of midday, safe and warm in this quiet, timeless place. As the minutes pass, the warmth seeps deeper into your bones, making your muscles heavy and relaxed. You feel as if you could sink into the soft ground and drift away on a tide of light and quiet. Your eyelids grow heavy, fluttering shut like the slow blink of a sleepy giant. The world around you softens, the sharp edges of the rocks blurring gently as your mind drifts between waking and dreaming. In this moment, Mercury feels like a gentle guardian, watching over you with quiet strength and endless patience. Its harsh reputation fades into a distant memory, replaced by the soothing comfort of slow sunlight and profound stillness. You are wrapped in the planet's warm embrace, drifting softly in the glow of a world that holds you tenderly, inviting you to rest, to dream, and to be. Now, let's gently float away from Mercury and prepare ourselves for the thick yellow clouds of a far more chaotic neighbour, Venus. The morning star, the evening star, the second planet from the sun, and often the brightest thing in the sky, aside from your phone at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. But don't let the soft glow fool you. Venus, in all her celestial beauty, is not exactly a friendly neighbour. In fact, she's like that elegant old mansion down the street, the one that looks charming from afar, but you just know it's haunted, full of boiling pipes and mysterious screams from the basement. Now, imagine waking up on Venus. You open your eyes slowly, very slowly. You're not entirely sure where you are yet, and that's okay. The air is thick. The light is golden and fuzzy, like sunlight filtered through old honey. You're not sweating, but only because you're inside the most advanced fictional spacesuit humanity has never built. It's cozy, lightly padded, smells faintly of chamomile and toasted marshmallows. You're protected, for now. You're standing on what scientists call the surface of Venus. Though honestly, surface feels like a generous term. It's less like solid ground and more like being trapped inside the world's angriest sauna. One filled with crushed rock, acid rain, and a mood that could best be described as melt your face. Let's talk atmosphere. The air here is 96.5% carbon dioxide, which means 0% breathable. The pressure, about 92 times what we have on Earth. That's like standing 3,000 feet underwater, while also standing on fire. A human without protection would be squished like a forgotten jelly donut under a car tire. But you, in your ultra-cushioned suit, remain pleasantly squish-resistant. And the temperature, hot enough to melt lead, roast a turkey instantly, or cook an entire Thanksgiving dinner just by placing it outside for 5 seconds. Mercury may be closer to the Sun, but Venus is the real overachiever in the turn everything to toast department. Why? Greenhouse gases. Venus is the cautionary tale every Earth scientist points to while nervously adjusting their climate charts. What about rain? Oh yes, Venus has rain. But of course it's not normal rain. That would be too easy. Here, the clouds are made of sulfuric acid, and while it technically rains, the droplets evaporate before they reach the ground. Think of it like sky tears. They fall but never land. A tragic little acid poem from the heavens. Still, in our dreamy thought experiment, you're not wandering through this hellscape unprotected. No, you've decided to live above it all, literally. Welcome to the floating cities of Venus, the only place on the planet where life could maybe work. Picture this. You're suspended 50 kilometers above the surface in a massive, balloon-shaped habitat, gently drifting in the upper atmosphere. Up here, the pressure is roughly Earth-like, the temperature is balmy, and the clouds below you churn slowly like a pot of golden soup. Inside your floating home, things are quiet, peaceful. There are plants in bubble terrariums. A cup of artificial coffee steams beside you. The walls hum with power converted from solar energy. You recline in your anti-gravity chair, just enough gravity to keep your bones happy, but not enough to make you stand unless you really want to. You look out the window. Below you, thick clouds swirl endlessly. The horizon is glowing. Everything is gold, orange, amber, like a sunset stretched out forever. You can't see stars, you can't see Earth. But it doesn't matter. This is your little slice of strange paradise, floating above the boiling chaos like a dreamy blimp. At night, or whatever counts for night, on a planet that rotates so slowly, it takes 243 Earth days to spin once. You lie down in your softly padded Venusian bed. There's no need for blankets. The temperature is perfect. A robotic voice whispers the daily news, which mostly consists of still hot, still acidic, still floating. Despite the harsh nature of the clouds, the temperature on the surface remains a consistent and enveloping warmth. It hovers around a steady 465 degrees Celsius, which on Earth would be unbearable. But here, thanks to the thick atmosphere, trapping heat like a massive greenhouse, it feels more like a continuous warm embrace, a blanket that never slips off. You imagine how the world would feel if you could simply melt into this heat, like a candle softly burning in a cozy room, its wax slowly pooling and warming everything around it. It is a warmth that penetrates, seeping slowly through the layers of your clothing, wrapping you in a deep sense of comfort despite its fierce intensity. You step carefully over the rocky plains scattered with ancient volcanic formations. Venus is dotted with thousands of volcanoes, many dormant but some possibly still alive beneath the surface. You imagine the slow, patient rumblings beneath your feet, the planet's deep core breathing quietly as magma churns beneath its surface. The idea that Venus may have volcanoes still softly stirring adds to the feeling that this world is alive and watching, a giant creature exhaling slowly in its eternal rest. As you explore, you notice the strange motion of the day and night cycle here. Venus rotates in the opposite direction to most planets, including Earth, and it spins incredibly slowly. One full rotation takes about 243 Earth days, which means the sun would rise and set with a slow, almost lazy pace that would stretch across months if you stayed to watch. You imagine watching a single sunrise here, the light creeping over the horizon so gradually it could lull you into a long, peaceful nap. Days and nights blend together in a soothing, endless cycle that invites rest and reflection. You find a small, smooth rock to sit on, its surface cool to the touch despite the surrounding heat, and you take a moment to breathe deeply in your suit, feeling the thick air hum quietly around you. There is a strange kind of silence here, not the empty void you might expect, but a soft, persistent presence, like the gentle murmur of a lullaby sung by the planet itself. You close your eyes and let this quiet wrap around you, a comforting cocoon of sound and warmth. The swirling clouds above continue their slow, graceful dance, their ever-changing patterns weaving stories across the sky that seem to unfold just for you. You imagine yourself drifting with these clouds, floating effortlessly through the dense atmosphere as if riding a gentle ocean current made of air. The acid droplets glisten in the faint sunlight, sparkling like tiny stars suspended in a golden sea. It is a dreamscape, both fierce and tender, inviting you to rest deeply beneath its glowing veil. You feel your body growing heavy with relaxation, the steady pressure and warmth coaxing your muscles to loosen and your thoughts to drift away. Your eyelids flutter softly, and you lean back against the rock, sinking slowly into a peaceful haze. Venus cradles you gently, its vast heat and heavy air blending into a serene, unchanging calm. Time loses meaning here as you float between waking and dreaming, cocooned in the soft glow of a planet that breathes with a slow, loving pulse. In this moment, Venus feels less like a distant, hostile world and more like an eternal sanctuary of warmth and quiet. You're held gently in its embrace, invited to drift softly into sleep beneath its endless golden sky. The planet's secrets swirl around you like the thick clouds above, wrapped in honeyed light and hushed whispers, lulling you deeper and deeper into a dream where the boundaries between you and the world fade away into peaceful nothingness. Venus's gravity is about 90% of Earth's, just a bit lighter, which adds to the feeling of ease as you move. Walking feels smooth and steady, not heavy or rushed, as though the planet itself is supporting you in a slow, deliberate dance. This lighter pull, combined with the thick atmosphere, makes every breath, every movement, feel like a gentle wave flowing through your body, calming and slow. The surface is covered in plains of volcanic rock and ancient lava flows, interspersed with vast highland regions where rugged mountains rise into the thick clouds. You imagine climbing one of these gentle peaks, the warmth increasing as you ascend, the clouds wrapping around you like a plush, warm shawl. At the summit, the view would be a golden haze stretching endlessly, a soft blur of shapes and colours that melts slowly into one another. One fascinating fact is that despite its fierce conditions, Venus is sometimes called Earth's twin because of its similar size and composition. Earth is vibrant and full of life. Venus is a quiet world of heat and pressure, a place where time moves at its own deliberate pace, inviting you to slow down and lose yourself in its warm embrace. And as you drift off, you think about how strange it is that a place so deadly, so hostile, so utterly incompatible with life, can also be oddly beautiful. Venus is like a cosmic lesson in contrast, a glowing pearl of death, a swirling ocean of fire and clouds that looks like a dream and feels like a warning. But don't worry, you don't have to stay. In the morning, or whatever time it becomes next, we'll be heading somewhere else. The sun. What if we could live on the sun? Yes, that blazing ball of flame roaring with firestorms, swallowing light where life is supposedly impossible. But what if it wasn't? Let's imagine. You blink. The light is everywhere. Not sharp, not burning, just endless. Warm like a lullaby. It wraps around you like soft cotton, and somehow you are not scorched. You're floating gently in the middle of what everyone once believed was pure destruction. But here, it feels like home. The surface below you isn't solid. It flows, it dances, Endless oceans of golden fire ripple outward, in patterns so large your mind can barely hold them. You are hovering above what scientists call the photosphere, the visible surface of the sun. It's not hard like rock, it's more like a sea of hot plasma, boiling at nearly 5,500 degrees. But for you, it feels like stepping into a perfectly warm bath after a cold night. Cozy, strange, silent. You step forward. Your boots don't melt. They hum, they shimmer. They're made of something impossible. Solar threaded diamond layered with magnetic shielding, reinforced by material not yet known to Earth. Something that shifts with heat instead of breaking from it. Your suit adjusts to the pressure, reshaping itself like a second skin. The glow around you brightens, then settles. You're safe, completely, unbelievably safe. The air, or something like air, fills your lungs. It's light, charged, almost playful. Every breath tastes like morning sun on snow. The suit's filters convert the raw radiation into warmth, light, comfort. The hum inside your helmet is gentle, steady, like a lullaby composed by the sun itself. You walk along the upper surface of the photosphere, each step like pressing into golden clouds. Solar granules rise and fall like glowing tiles, each the size of a country, bubbling up for minutes before sinking again. From above, they look like a living mosaic, rearranging themselves endlessly. You don't fear the movement. You flow with it, stepping gently between shifting hills of hot gas, as if walking on a river that knows your name. Far above, great arches of fire reach into the sky, solar prominences, magnetic loops of plasma stretching hundreds of thousands of kilometers into space. You tilt your head and watch them twist, bend and fold like glowing silk, caught in a cosmic breeze. One erupts nearby, a burst of energy that could knock out every satellite back on Earth. But here, it's just a flare. It crackles faintly like a campfire at the edge of your hearing, and you feel the vibration in your chest. Not pain, not fear, just awe. Your suit records everything, but you're not paying attention to the data. You're watching the sun breathe, watching it live. It feels like being inside a heartbeat. The magnetic field here is a living thing. You feel it tugging at your fingers, playful like static. It hums gently, brushing your arms, your spine, your eyelids. Suddenly you begin to rise. Not flying, just drifting upward as if the sun itself is lifting you, showing you more. You pass through the chromosphere, a layer even hotter than the one below. It glows red and orange, like a candle's flame. And for a moment you feel like you're floating inside a stained glass window made of fire. Small spicules, jets of plasma, shoot upward around you like flickers from a bonfire. None touch you. They dance in greeting. Then comes the corona, the outer atmosphere of the sun. It's faint, wispy, but hotter than anything below, over 1,000,000 degrees. Scientists still don't fully understand why. The temperature here could vaporize worlds, yet you feel only a cool breeze. Your suit diffuses the energy into soft pulses, like a heartbeat against your ribs. You glide through tendrils of plasma, stretching into space, reaching far beyond the visible sun, glowing faintly even during an eclipse. And then you look back. Below you, the sun is no longer a distant star. It is a living world, oceans of gold, forests of flame, mountains of light. Every flare, every pulse, every loop of fire now feels like a gesture, a breath, a story. You are not a visitor. You are part of it. You imagine building a home here. Perhaps it would float just above the surface, anchored in magnetic fields, powered by pure sunlight. Walls made of solar crystal, a roof that bends with radiation. You would wake each morning to the sight of prominence, storms arching above your head, the floor glowing softly with fire beneath your feet. You would garden in sunlight itself, nurturing radiant flowers, fed not by water, but by plasma. You would sleep wrapped in warmth that has crossed galaxies. Outside, solar winds carry particles outward, all the way to Earth and beyond. Your mind follows them. Every gust from the sun has shaped your world, made auroras dance, charged storms, helped birth life. And now you stand at the source, the origin of warmth, the great furnace that sings to every planet. You do not feel small here. You feel exactly the right size. Floating above the most powerful object in the solar system, you are not erased, you are embraced. You close your eyes. The sound of the sun becomes a lullaby, a low, steady hum, a promise, a cradle of fire that somehow, impossibly, holds you gently in its arms. You breathe in, you sleep, and the sun keeps glowing. Life on Mars, red dust and old secrets. So, we've left behind the fiery cauldron of Venus, farewell to acid clouds, lava temperatures, and mysterious floating cities that smell faintly of brimstone and optimism. Now, we head farther out, gliding smoothly through the cold quiet of space, past the orbit of Earth, and on toward a place that has held our curiosity longer than any other. Mars, the red planet, the dusty one, the dry, stubborn cousin in the solar system family photo. While Venus was like a gothic opera, dramatic, dangerous, and just a little too extra, Mars is more like a moody indie film, a bit lonely, quiet, but if you stay long enough, you start to feel something ancient moving beneath the surface. You land softly on Martian soil. Your ship releases a gentle hiss as it cools. The door opens, and there it is, your first view of Mars. Flat plains stretching forever, small mountains rising like the broken teeth of ancient giants, and everything covered in red dust. It's not just a little dust either. It's everywhere, on your boots, in your helmet filter, between your imaginary toes. This planet has dust in places you didn't even know existed. Mars is dry, not desert dry, not forgot your water bottle dry. It hasn't had a real rainfall in billions of years dry. But, and this is important, it used to be different. Scientists believe Mars was once wet. Flowing rivers, ancient lakes, maybe even oceans. You imagine that, long ago, Martian fish flopped lazily in crimson puddles, probably very confused about everything. Now, though, the water's mostly gone, hiding beneath the surface as ice. The air is thin, a delicate soup of mostly carbon dioxide. If you stepped outside without a helmet, you'd last about 15 seconds. Not because you'd freeze or explode, that would be dramatic, but because there's just not enough oxygen to keep your sleepy brain awake. But you are protected, nestled into the rocks, like a glowing beetle. Solar panels fan out like wings, soaking up the distant sunlight. Inside, it's warm. Light hums gently. The floor is padded. There's a small plant in the corner. The first Martian potato crop, possibly, although no one's sure if potatoes dream. Your bed is soft and warm, just slightly weighted to help simulate gravity, because Mars has only about 38% of Earth's gravity. You don't bounce like an astronaut on the moon, but you do sort of glide through your daily tasks. Brushing your teeth is a whimsical ballet. Sitting down involves a slow, careful descent, and maybe a little bounce at the end. It's like living in a world built for gentle parkour. You walk outside in your snug red and white spacesuit. The sun is a tiny disk in the sky, less like a fireball, more like a bright button. The wind whispers across the land, sometimes picking up enough dust to swirl into a ghostly little tornado. These dust devils dance across the plains like forgotten memories. You wonder if they remember things. Probably not, but they might hum lullabies if you listen close enough. At night, Mars becomes breathtaking. The sky is dark, darker than anything you've ever seen on Earth. Stars are diamonds, scattered recklessly. And Earth? If you look just right, you can spot it. A small blue pinprick of light. That's home, or was home. Now you live in a sleepy dome, brewing tea with recycled water and reading old books by Martian candlelight. Sometimes you think about the rovers. Spirit, opportunity, curiosity, perseverance. Little robot explorers, still out there somewhere. Cameras pointed at rocks, patiently waiting for someone to say hello. You imagine tucking them in at night, little blankets over their solar panels, whispering "good job" before the sun sets. There are rumours, of course, whispers about underground lava tubes, hollow caverns, old fossils of things that once were. No one knows for sure, but the silence of Mars isn't empty, it's listening. And as you sit quietly in your dome, sipping something warm, you begin to wonder, are we the first to be here, or just the latest? You drift off to sleep, cradled by Martian gravity, wrapped in a blanket that smells like old books and dryer sheets. Outside, the wind hums softly. Inside, your dreams fill with red dust and ancient lakes and robotic lullabies. Mars is cold, really cold. Even on a sunny day near the equator, you might only get a high of 30 degrees, but as soon as the sun dips behind the rusty horizon, it plunges rapidly to minus 100 degrees. And unlike Earth, Mars doesn't have much of an atmosphere to help trap heat or block radiation. You're basically camping in space, with nothing but a suit and some hope between you and the harsh void. Mars also has dust, lots of it, the kind of fine red powder that gets into every little crack and crevice. Imagine trying to go to bed while constantly cleaning out your equipment, your airlock, even your food rations. The dust is electrically charged too, meaning it sticks to everything. Your nice clean outpost would look like a construction site by the end of the day. And then there's the atmosphere, or rather the lack of one. Mars has a very thin layer of carbon dioxide around it, which isn't breathable, obviously, and not enough to offer protection from solar radiation. So if you're thinking of sunbathing on Mars, you'd better bring a lead umbrella. Every time you step outside, even for a few minutes, your body gets dosed with high-energy cosmic rays. Great for cooking popcorn, not so great for your cells. Now let's talk water. There is some ice, especially at the poles and possibly underground in certain regions, but turning that into usable water takes power. Lots of it. Imagine hauling equipment around just to melt enough ice to brush your teeth. And bathing? Forget it. Martian hygiene is going to look a lot like rubbing yourself with space wipes and hoping for the best. Gravity's also playing tricks. Mars has only about 38% of Earth's gravity. That means you'd weigh less and could leap farther, sure, but over time, your bones would weaken, your muscles would shrink, and your heart would adapt in strange ways. You might feel like a superhero at first, but slowly, your body would forget Earth entirely. And when you finally tried to come home, gravity might feel like punishment. But despite all this, there's something oddly peaceful about Mars. The rust-coloured dunes stretch for miles, undisturbed. The sky turns pink at sunset, and the stars, crystal clear. There's no noise, no wind to speak of, just the occasional, gentle whisper of dust sliding down a slope. You could almost fall asleep here if it weren't for the survival gear. In a way, living on Mars would feel like being in a silent, slow-moving sci-fi film. Every small action would feel deliberate. Breathing would be a luxury, water a treasure, sleep an achievement. You wouldn't just live on Mars, you'd endure it. And in doing so, perhaps you'd learn something ancient, something about patience, about adaptation, about the strange calm that comes from living on the edge of a world that was never meant for us. Mars might be dry and lonely, but it waits quietly, like a story still being written. Let's go deeper now. You've already imagined the cold winds, the silent dust, the distant pink sunsets of Mars. But what about waking up there? What does a Martian morning feel like? What does it mean to have a day on a planet that doesn't quite follow our rules? Let's explore a more subtle mystery, not the dramatic ones of space storms or radiation, but the quiet confusion of time itself and what it might feel like to live through a year that doesn't belong to Earth. A Martian day is a little over 24 hours. That might sound convenient. You'd think your body could adapt pretty easily to that extra 39 minutes. But over time, strange things begin to happen. Your internal clock, the one wired into your very bones from millions of years on Earth, starts to tick against your environment. Maybe you wake up a little too early or stay up too late. Maybe your body begins to resist sleep. And so the settlers of Mars, if there are any, might have to invent their own rituals. Morning stretches under dim red skies, breakfast at odd hours, a new kind of coffee designed not just to wake you up, but to help you remember what day it is. Now picture yourself walking outside, not strolling, really, more like carefully lumbering through the dust. You'd wear a thick pressurized suit, but even inside you'd feel the difference in gravity. Everything is easier to carry. Your backpack is lighter, your tools, your boots, your steps, all just a little more effortless. But it's deceptive. Easier does not mean safer. If you trip, you might float slightly before hitting the ground, but if something punctures your suit, even a sharp pebble in the wind, it becomes a quiet emergency. No alarms, no drama, just a small hiss and a race against time. Martian mornings aren't bright, not really. The sun rises slowly, casting a dull copper light across the surface. Shadows stretch long, and everything looks a little bit sleepy. This is not the cheerful golden hour of Earth. It's a reminder that you are far away. Everything around you is ancient. The craters, the canyons, the plains, they've been here long before humans ever dreamed of rockets. The largest canyon system on Mars, Valles Marineris, is over 4,000 kilometers long. That's the distance from Paris to Moscow, and it cuts across the planet like a scar. You might one day build a home near its edge, looking down at the shadows stretching for miles. And then there is the wind. Not strong like a hurricane, but subtle. The air is thin, remember? So even when it moves fast, it doesn't press against you the way wind does on Earth. Instead, it brushes past like a whisper, moving the dust in soft, spiraling patterns. You might hear nothing at all, just the sound of your own breath inside your helmet, the distant beep of your suit, and the soft crunch of your boots against iron-rich soil. Lunchtime on Mars is peculiar too. You don't have fresh bread or fruit, or even hot coffee, not unless you've spent years building greenhouses. Your food comes in pouches, maybe hydrated with melted ice, carefully rationed and packed to avoid waste. There is no kitchen, just a warm unit in your habitat that heats things slowly. But on Mars, a warm meal is more than food. It is comfort. It is survival. It is something normal in a world that feels anything but. Now imagine the calendar. A Martian year is 687 Earth days. That's almost twice as long. So how do you track time? Do you celebrate birthdays every 22 months? Do you invent new holidays? Maybe you create something like a dust festival, where you clean off solar panels and decorate your habitat with patterns made from coloured rock. Or perhaps the first human colonies hold a celebration when Earth appears brightest in the sky, a reminder that their home is still watching from afar. Seasons on Mars are longer too. Spring might last 7 Earth months. Winter could stretch into nearly a full year. But unlike Earth, the seasons here aren't marked by blooming flowers or falling leaves. Instead, they are measured in the way shadows fall, in the thickness of frost around the poles, in the patterns of carbon dioxide that freeze and vanish again. You learn to read these signs like a forgotten language, one that whispers stories of ancient climates and buried lakes. And as the sun dips again and night falls over the Martian plains, the temperature drops fast. Maybe you retreat to your shelter, your small room made of plastic and aluminum and hope. You peel off your suit and lie in a warm sleeping bag, surrounded by quiet machines keeping you alive. You glance out the small window. The stars look almost the same here, but they feel different, more distant, more silent. The constellations are familiar, but the planet beneath you is not. And still, in all this cold, all this red dust, all this emptiness, you begin to feel something unexpected. You feel calm, maybe even comfort. Because even here, on a planet that never asked for visitors, humans are learning to live. Not to conquer, not to rush, but to adapt, to understand. And maybe, just maybe, to belong. The largest planet in our solar system. A swirling giant of gas and storms, Jupiter is a world of mystery and wonder, wrapped in thick, endless blankets of clouds that stretch far beyond anything you could see on Earth. As you open your eyes, you find yourself floating softly among these clouds, wrapped in a quiet haze of swirling gases. You feel both light and heavy at once, caught in the unique dance of Jupiter's gravity. The air around you here is unlike anything you have ever breathed. It is not the familiar oxygen that fills Earth's skies, but mostly hydrogen and helium, the lightest and most abundant gases in the universe. This means you cannot breathe Jupiter's atmosphere in the way you do on Earth. But imagine, for a moment, that you have a special suit or a bubble holding just the right mixture of oxygen so you can take in each breath without worry. Even then, the sensation of standing beneath these endless, ever-moving skies would fill you with a deep quiet awe. Jupiter's clouds are not the soft, fluffy pillows you might picture drifting on a warm day. Instead, they are dense, thick, and constantly swirling in bands of white, cream, orange, and deep red. These bands circle the planet in powerful, endless winds that race faster than any storm on Earth. The wind speeds here can reach more than 600 kilometers per hour, far beyond the strongest hurricanes on Earth. Yet, in your little floating corner, the air feels calm and steady, like the gentle rocking of a cradle, perfect for a sleepy afternoon spent watching the slow dance of clouds and light. Gravity on Jupiter is a curious companion. Because the planet is so enormous and heavy, its pull is much stronger than Earth's, about 2.5 times stronger, to be exact. If you were somehow able to stand on solid ground here, which is impossible because Jupiter is a gas giant without a true surface, you would feel as if invisible weights were pressing on your body, making every movement slow and deliberate. But instead of standing, you float gently, suspended within thick layers of clouds and gases, drifting in a slow, graceful dance with the planet's endless energy. The light on Jupiter is soft and diffused, different from the bright sunlight we know on Earth. The sun here appears smaller and dimmer because it is much farther away. Its rays filter down through miles and miles of swirling clouds, casting a golden, honey-like glow that shifts gently as storms pass overhead. The sky changes slowly, painted in shades of cream, grey and orange, with the constant motion of clouds creating patterns that never quite repeat. It is a place where time seems to stretch, where moments unfold slowly and peacefully, allowing your mind to relax and wander, like a leaf drifting on a quiet stream. Living here would mean embracing a world where the familiar solid ground is gone, replaced by a vast ever-moving sea of clouds. Instead of walking, you might spend your days gently floating or gliding in the thick atmosphere, surrounded by the soft colours and slow rhythms of the planet. Imagine a floating home, like a cozy bubble or a hammock, drifting with the currents as you look out at endless skies. The gentle rocking of the clouds would become the lullaby of your new life, rocking you softly between wakefulness and sleep. Even the famous storms of Jupiter, known for their incredible power, seem distant and softened from your peaceful vantage point. The Great Red Spot, a giant storm larger than the entire Earth, churns far away, its fierce winds and roaring energy a gentle hum on the edge of your world. It is like hearing the steady pulse of a giant heart beneath the clouds, a reminder of the planet's immense power, but also its calm, eternal presence. In this quiet place, where the air is thick and slow-moving, the endless swirl of colours and shapes creates a soothing backdrop for deep rest and gentle dreams. The soft pull of Jupiter's gravity, the dim golden light, and the slow, endless motion of clouds combine to create a feeling of safety and comfort, as if you were cradled by the giant's breath itself. So, as you begin your imagined journey on Jupiter, let your mind float gently with the clouds. Feel the calm gravity pulling softly. Listen to the distant hum of the storms, and watch the ever-changing sky paint a slow, dreamy world around you. Here, life is different, wrapped in mystery and quiet wonder, perfect for slowing down, relaxing, and drifting off into sleep. As you continue your journey through Jupiter's vast atmosphere, you become aware of the immense power that quietly pulses beneath the clouds. Jupiter is not just a planet of swirling gases and soft drifting light. It is a world alive with storms that stretch on for centuries, moving slowly but with unstoppable force. Living here means learning to live with this slow, immense energy, feeling it as a steady heartbeat beneath the gentle sway of the clouds. One of the most famous and awe-inspiring features of Jupiter is the Great Red Spot. It is a gigantic storm, larger than the entire Earth, and it has been raging for at least 300 years. Imagine a whirlwind so vast and so persistent that it could hold its fury through centuries of change, twisting and turning like a slow giant dance in the skies. This storm is a swirling oval of deep red and orange hues, slowly turning in a timeless rhythm, like a grand cosmic carousel. From your floating home in the atmosphere, the great red spot feels both distant and comforting. It is a constant presence, a giant moving slowly beneath you, reminding you that Jupiter's power is vast but steady. The winds here blow in great bands that circle the planet, flowing in opposite directions, side by side, creating a beautiful and complex tapestry of movement. These powerful winds can reach speeds over 600 kilometers per hour. Yet from your safe place among the clouds, they feel like a distant whisper, a soft murmur in the background of your quiet life. Living so close to these enormous storms would change the way you perceive time and movement. Everything here moves slowly, with a deep, measured rhythm that invites calm and reflection. The storm's immense size means it changes little from day to day, its slow rotation allowing you to watch the same vast shapes and colours shift gently over hours and weeks. This slow transformation becomes a meditation, a peaceful dance that you can watch as you float quietly through the atmosphere. The clouds around you are alive with constant motion. Swirling patterns of ammonia crystals and other chemicals drift through the air, catching the dim sunlight and scattering it into soft, muted colours. These clouds are thicker and heavier than any you have ever seen, their shapes changing slowly in the steady flow of Jupiter's atmosphere. At times, you might see lightning flicker inside these clouds, flashes of energy that briefly light up the swirling mists before fading away again. This lightning is far more powerful than storms on Earth, crackling silently in the deep layers of gas. Despite the enormous energy of these storms, living among them feels surprisingly gentle. The sheer size of Jupiter means the changes you experience are vast in scale but slow in pace. The storms are like great breathing cycles of the planet itself, rising and falling, twisting and turning over centuries. You would find yourself moving with this slow rhythm, your thoughts and breathing matching the calm pulse of the atmosphere. Even the temperature around you seems to follow this gentle pace. Jupiter is a cold world, with temperatures near the upper cloud layers falling to around minus 150 degrees Celsius. This cold is softened by the thick clouds and the steady movement of the atmosphere, creating a quiet chill that wraps around you like a soft blanket. Your special habitat would keep you warm and safe, providing a cozy refuge from the cold and the wildness of the storms. Beneath the clouds, the deeper layers of Jupiter's atmosphere hold even more mysteries. Pressure grows heavier with each step downward, and gases become denser and hotter. Imagine descending slowly into these hidden depths, surrounded by swirling gases and glowing clouds of hydrogen. The deeper you go, the more the atmosphere feels like a warm, thick ocean, gently pressing against you from all sides. This vast swirling ocean of gas is unlike any place you have known. It has no clear boundaries, no solid ground, only endless layers of shifting clouds and storms, wrapping you in a slow, timeless embrace. It is a place where the ordinary rules of living are rewritten, where gravity, pressure, and temperature change slowly but profoundly, shaping a world that is both beautiful and mysterious. So living on Jupiter means living with the slow pulse of giant storms, the steady breath of a planet alive with energy. It is a place where time slows, where the roar of hurricanes becomes a distant hum, and where the endless dance of clouds invites you to rest and dream. Here, surrounded by the slow, steady power of the great red spot and the endless swirling storms, you find a world perfect for quiet moments and peaceful sleep. You begin your slow descent through Jupiter's endless clouds, feeling the coolness of the air safely held inside your suit. Around you, soft swirls of cream, orange, and pale red drift gently in a never-ending dance. It feels as if you are part of something vast and timeless, carried along on currents that have flowed for centuries. The world here is quiet, except for the gentle hum of the atmosphere, a sound so soft it seems like the planet itself is whispering a lullaby just for you. As you float deeper, the thick clouds around you grow denser, wrapping you in a comforting embrace. The pressure increases, pressing gently but firmly against your body, a constant reminder that this place is unlike any other. There is no solid ground beneath your feet, only a vast ocean of gas and colour stretching far below and even farther above you. The weight you feel shifts in strange ways. Your body feels heavier than on Earth, yet also strangely buoyant, as though you are both sinking and floating at the same time, balanced perfectly in the planet's endless atmosphere. The light filtering down from above becomes dimmer and warmer, shifting from the golden glow of the upper clouds to a soft orange haze. It is as if the sun's rays are softened through thick layers of silk. This warm light wraps around you like a gentle hug, calming your thoughts and slowing your mind. You close your eyes for a moment and let yourself drift with the slow rhythm of the planet. The motion is peaceful and steady, like floating on a quiet sea under a sky filled with soft, swirling colours. Suddenly, a faint flicker of light catches your eye, dancing through the clouds nearby. You watch as quiet flashes of lightning ripple through the dense atmosphere. These bolts are powerful but silent, moving in slow arcs that paint the clouds with glowing trails that fade softly into the mist. These silent sparks remind you of the hidden energy flowing beneath the calm surface. Even here, deep within Jupiter's layers, the planet breathes and moves with a slow, constant pulse, alive and ever-changing. As you descend further, the temperature changes slightly. The cold of the upper clouds gives way to a gentle warmth. This is not the heat of a fire, but a subtle, soothing warmth that seeps through the thick gases, wrapping you in a cozy blanket of comfort. The deeper you go, the more the atmosphere feels like a thick, liquid ocean. You imagine what it would be like to swim through these vast layers of glowing hydrogen, drifting endlessly through a sea of soft light and colour. There is no rush here, no need to hurry to any destination. Time seems to stretch out and slow down as you float in this quiet world. Each moment lengthens, filled with the gentle motion of the clouds and the slow dance of the distant storms above. You find yourself breathing more deeply, more calmly, as if the very air encourages rest and relaxation. The steady pressure of the atmosphere becomes a reassuring presence, a constant embrace from this giant planet's endless depths. At times, you catch glimpses of strange swirling shapes moving just beyond the clouds. They look like enormous whirlpools or great curtains of colour slowly shifting through the depths. These patterns are reminders of the powerful storms, their energy hidden beneath the calm surface you float within. You imagine exploring those wild storms up close, feeling the rush of wind and the raw power of Jupiter's breath. But for now, you are content to drift here, in this quiet space between light and shadow. As you gently rise back toward the upper layers, the world outside brightens once again. The thick clouds part slightly, revealing the endless bands of colour circling the planet. Far in the distance, you see the great red spot, a slow-moving giant that pulses with ancient energy. Its deep reds and oranges seem to reach across the sky, a constant companion on this vast journey. Floating here on Jupiter feels like being wrapped in a dream. The slow rhythms of the atmosphere, the soft light, and the gentle pressure all combine to create a place where worries fade and sleep comes easily. It is a world unlike any other, both wild and calm, powerful and peaceful. You feel grateful to be a small part of its endless story, drifting gently in the giant's breath. And as you close your eyes once more, you let the slow dance of Jupiter's clouds carry you deeper into sleep, where dreams and reality mingle softly under the planet's endless skies. You find yourself drifting gently towards Saturn, the magnificent giant of the solar system. Its swirling golden bands stretching endlessly across the sky like the soft folds of a grand celestial quilt. The planet's presence is both awe-inspiring and calming, a majestic world wrapped in a slow, graceful dance around the sun. As you approach, you feel the gentle pull of its gravity, lighter than Earth's, inviting you to move with a kind of elegant ease, as if you are floating through a dream. The first thing that captures your attention is Saturn's famous rings, vast and shimmering, composed of countless particles of ice and rock that sparkle softly in the muted sunlight. These rings encircle the planet like a delicate crown, glowing with a soft, ethereal light that feels almost magical. You imagine reaching out to touch them, feeling the coolness and smoothness of the icy fragments as they drift slowly past, whispering ancient secrets from the edges of space. The rings are a constant, gentle presence, a quiet reminder of the planet's timeless beauty and mystery. The atmosphere of Saturn is a thick, swirling ocean of gases, mostly hydrogen and helium, that wraps the planet in layers of golden clouds. As you descend through this atmosphere, you feel a soothing coolness, a refreshing contrast to the warmth of Venus. The clouds move in slow, majestic bands, flowing endlessly around the planet in a graceful, hypnotic ballet. Their colours shift subtly, from pale gold to soft amber, painting the sky in gentle hues that lull your senses into calm. Breathing in the air, you imagine the scent as faint and clean, like the soft fragrance of a distant mountain breeze, untouched and pure. The pressure here is much lower than on Venus, and the gravity is about a tenth less than Earth's, giving you a feeling of lightness and buoyancy. Each movement feels effortless, as if you are gliding through a gentle current that carries you softly with the planet's endless rotation. Below the clouds, the weather on Saturn is wild yet strangely rhythmic. Gigantic storms swirl across the atmosphere, some larger than Earth itself, their winds reaching incredible speeds. But instead of feeling fear or chaos, you experience these storms as a slow, natural rhythm, like the planet's deep breath. The thunder rumbles softly in the distance, a low, soothing vibration that echoes through the swirling mists and makes you feel connected to something vast and eternal. One of the most enchanting sights is the famous hexagonal storm at Saturn's North Pole, a vast, six-sided vortex that spins quietly like a cosmic lullaby. You imagine watching it from just above the cloud tops, the hexagon's edges glowing faintly in the golden light, rotating slowly with a calm certainty. This geometric marvel feels like a cosmic clock, marking the steady passage of time in this tranquil giant's atmosphere. Saturn's moons add to the planet's quiet charm. Titan, the largest moon, is a world of thick orange haze and mysterious lakes of liquid methane. You picture standing on Titan's icy surface, wrapped in a warm spacesuit, gazing up at Saturn's glowing rings, stretching across the sky like a giant shimmering ribbon. The cold air here is crisp and still, and the silence is profound, broken only by the soft whisper of methane rain falling gently around you. The icy moon Enceladus intrigues you as well, with its geysers of water vapour spraying softly into space. You imagine floating near these fountains, watching the delicate mists sparkle against the sunlight, feeling a sense of wonder at the hidden oceans beneath the frozen crust. These moons make Saturn not just a planet, but a small solar system of its own, each world carrying its own quiet mysteries and serene beauty. As you float gently above Saturn's cloud tops, you feel the slow, steady pulse of the planet's rotation, a deep and ancient rhythm that has persisted for billions of years. The golden light bathes everything in a warm, soft glow, wrapping you in a cocoon of peace and wonder. Here, time seems to stretch and slow, inviting you to rest deeply and dream beneath the endless swirling clouds. In this moment, you are part of Saturn's eternal dance, moving gracefully with the rings and storms, wrapped in golden light and soft shadows. The planet's majestic presence is a gentle lullaby that carries you effortlessly into a calm and peaceful sleep beneath the endless, shimmering cities of this magnificent world. You glide closer to Saturn's vast expanse, feeling the planet's gentle pull draw you into its quiet embrace. The air around you is thin but somehow comforting, like a soft sigh that welcomes you home. As you descend through the upper layers of its atmosphere, the golden hues you once admired become softer shadows, a delicate play of light and dark that wraps you like a silken quilt. The clouds here are thick and layered, moving slowly in endless spirals, their shapes shifting like soft smoke in a gentle breeze. You feel yourself sinking deeper into this swirling mist, as if floating in a warm, velvety ocean of air that cushions every movement you make. The temperature here is crisp but inviting, far cooler than Venus, hovering just below minus 130 degrees Celsius. Instead of cold biting into your skin, you imagine it as a calm hush, like stepping into a quiet, chilly room warmed by a nearby fire. Every breath you take feels pure and light, almost like sipping on the freshest mountain air, calming your mind and slowing your thoughts. Your lungs expand gently, filling with this cool, sweet atmosphere, and with every exhale, you feel a peaceful quiet washing over you, settling deep inside like a soft blanket. You notice that the wind is barely there, a subtle murmur that barely stirs the clouds, more a whisper than a gust. This whisper carries with it tiny ice crystals, shimmering faintly in the dim light, like countless tiny stars floating gently around you. They swirl lazily, caught in the planet's slow rotation, creating a soft, glittering haze that feels magical and dreamlike. You reach out your hand, watching as the crystals drift and twinkle before settling quietly on your fingertips. They melt instantly against your skin, as if vaporizing into tiny sparkles of cold light. The sensation is oddly soothing, like the faintest touch of a cool breeze on a warm summer night. Below, the deeper layers of Saturn's atmosphere are a mystery, hidden behind veils of thick clouds that swirl in endless patterns. Scientists say that beneath these clouds lies a world of raging storms and fierce winds, but from where you hover now, the chaos feels far away, a distant memory muffled by layers of swirling mist. Instead, you feel a profound peace, as if the planet itself is whispering a lullaby meant only for you. The storms, though powerful, are silent giants here, their energy transformed into a slow rhythm you can almost hear, a cosmic heartbeat that beats in time with your own. The silence around you is deep and soothing. It wraps you in a cocoon of calm that seems to slow time itself. In this stillness, your heartbeat slows, and your breath deepens, matching the steady pulse of Saturn's rotation. The planet spins once every 10.5 hours, a quick turn for such a giant, but here in the clouds, it feels like a gentle rocking motion, coaxing you toward rest. You imagine the entire planet as a great cosmic cradle, slowly rocking you in its arms as the golden clouds drift lazily by. You watch as subtle shifts in the light paint the clouds in soft gradients of gold and amber. Shadows stretch and blend, creating patterns that seem to tell ancient stories written in the language of light and air. You imagine these patterns as a slow, celestial dance, choreographed over millennia, inviting you to relax and simply be. The shapes twist and twirl in the sky above, forming gentle spirals and soft arches that melt into one another like a watercolor painting left to fade in the sun. Far above, the rings remain a constant companion, their silvery bands glowing faintly through the haze. Their presence feels like a protective embrace, encircling you with shimmering comfort. You imagine lying back on a soft cloud and gazing up at these rings, watching their gentle shimmer ripple like waves on a calm sea. Their quiet light bathes the atmosphere, a gentle glow that invites your eyelids to grow heavy and your mind to drift toward peaceful dreams. As you float gently in Saturn's whispering shadows, you sense the planet's subtle magnetosphere reaching out around you. Invisible but powerful, it shields you from the harshness of space, a guardian wrapping you in a protective bubble. You feel safe here, cradled in the planet's embrace, far from the noise and hurry of Earth. This magnetic shield hums softly, like the faintest vibration beneath the surface of your skin, a constant reassuring presence that hums quietly in the background. The moons of Saturn drift lazily in the distance, tiny jewels scattered across the golden sky. Rhea, Dione, and Tethys gleam softly, their icy surfaces reflecting the planet's gentle light. Each one adds to the quiet majesty of this scene, companions in a peaceful, eternal voyage. You imagine that they too are wrapped in the same golden hush, drifting slowly in their own graceful orbits, sharing the calm in a cosmic lullaby. You have no idea how you made it down here, but here you are, resting on what feels like a surface, but isn't a surface. Saturn does not have one like Earth. No solid ground to stand on, just pressure, just clouds, just layer after layer of gases folded together into one vast swirling world. And yet somehow your body has adjusted. You feel suspended inside something thick and slow. It holds you gently, as though the planet has softened its immense weight just for you. You are not falling, you are not sinking. You're simply hovering, wrapped in a golden brown fog that hums around your ears like a lullaby sung from the deep. The air here is not air at all. It is a blend of hydrogen and helium, with traces of methane, ammonia, and other ancient chemicals drifting through like forgotten recipes. You take in a breath, or something close to one. You do not need to inhale the way you once did. The atmosphere is not breathable by human lungs, but in this strange place, survival feels possible through other means. You feel as though your body has shifted, adapted, become something new. The gas doesn't fill your lungs. It surrounds you instead, absorbs into you like steam. You are not gasping. You are soaking in the planet like a sponge in warm tea. And it is warm, but not in the way you expect, not like a summer afternoon or a crackling fireplace. Down here, in the lower layers of Saturn's atmosphere, temperatures climb higher than your senses were ever made to handle. Thousands of degrees. You do not feel heat the way you once did. It presses into you with invisible hands, not burning, but heavy, like being hugged by a star that has decided to rest. Above the clouds, Saturn is bitter cold, colder than anything your skin remembers. But deeper inside, where you are now, that chill disappears. It becomes something dense and slow and deeply alive. The pressure is staggering. But somehow you are not crushed. Around you, the clouds have turned from soft cream to deep amber. Shades of brown and bronze ripple outward in every direction, like the folds of an ancient curtain being drawn back. The deeper you go, the more colours appear. Hints of violet, murky reds, even faint green streaks swimming slowly through the haze. You reach out and touch nothing. There is no wall, no floor, no frame of reference. Just motion and stillness and warmth. Gravity tugs at you gently. Saturn's pull is stronger than Earth's, but not so strong that it feels harsh. You weigh more here, but you do not feel it. You drift lower through invisible layers of gas, each one thicker than the last, but all of them letting you pass. It is like moving through molasses, but slower, dreamier, like your body has forgotten what fast even means. You notice how every part of you feels wider, stretched. It's the gravity again, pulling you slightly longer than you used to be. Not enough to frighten you, just enough to make your bones feel like tree roots, gently drawn toward the planet's center. You wonder how you can still think clearly. The pressure here is enormous, deeper than the deepest ocean trench on Earth. If you were still made of skin and bone, you would have been crushed long ago. But Saturn has changed you. The gases have melted into your thoughts. Your body has become part of the atmosphere itself. You are neither floating nor sinking. You are being carried, held, rocked slowly in the arms of a planet that does not sleep. You open your hands and the air folds between your fingers, like silk soaked in syrup. It clings, it moves, it breathes. There is no wind here, only pulses, rhythmic shifts, in pressure that flow past you like underwater currents. They do not disturb you, they guide you. You let yourself drift where they want you to go. Somewhere far above, lightning crackles. A flash of blue fire races through the clouds, like a dragon made of electricity. The storm it belongs to is enormous, wider than entire continents. It rumbles down through the gas layers like a slow drumbeat. The light reaches you dimly, flickering in the thick haze. You do not fear it. The storm is part of the rhythm here, part of the breath of the planet. You close your eyes for a moment and listen to it. The distant growl, the slow rumble, the promise of ancient energy flowing like blood through veins made of air. You are no longer waiting for something to happen. You are inside what is happening, existing in it. The sensation of time has dissolved. There is no ticking, no marking of minutes, just the smooth pull of Saturn's gravity and the whisper of its endless gas fields. You wonder if anyone else has ever been here, not just orbiting, not just flying past, but here, inside the planet, breathing its breath, feeling its warmth. A ripple forms ahead of you, not a creature, but something alive, a pressure shift, a subtle change in the density of the gas. You drift toward it slowly. The change welcomes you. You pass through it like slipping into a new dream. Everything is slightly quieter here, slightly deeper. It feels like moving through the chapters of a book written in clouds. Each layer brings a new tone, a new temperature, a new silence. You close your eyes again, not to rest, but to listen. The planet sings in frequencies lower than any sound on Earth. You do not hear it, you feel it, in your chest, in your fingertips, in the spaces between your thoughts. The song is slow and long and old. You sway to it, barely moving, rocked like a child in the softest cradle imaginable. You are deep inside Saturn now, not above it, not near it, but truly inside it, held in a place few minds could ever imagine. And there is nowhere else you would rather be. You wake up to silence, a silence that does not feel empty. It feels wide, expansive, like waking up in a cathedral made of pale blue mist. Everything is still. There is no sound, not even your own breathing, but you are breathing, somehow. Somewhere in this world that tilts where it should stand upright, you have found a place to float. Uranus greets you without ceremony. No crackling storms, no brilliant fire, just an endless softness that surrounds you like a woolen blanket soaked in moonlight. You are not on top of the planet. You are not walking. You are suspended, drifting slowly through an atmosphere that seems to hum, but only when you stop trying to listen. The entire planet feels as though it is dreaming, and now you are part of that dream. Your body feels strange, not wrong, not heavy, but different, as though the planet has reached inside and turned down all the noise. Your thoughts come more slowly here. They stretch out like long ribbons in water, floating gently away the moment you have them. Time is thick, you do not need to move quickly. Nothing here does. You look around, everything is blue, but not the same kind of blue. The upper clouds are pale, almost white, like the underside of a glacier. Deeper down, the blue deepens, richer, heavier, like velvet soaked in ocean. There is no edge to the sky, it simply goes on, folding into itself again and again. The farther you look, the more you feel like you are staring into layers of calm. Uranus is tilted, nearly 98 degrees on its side. As you drift, you feel the difference in your bones. The poles are not where you expect them to be. You do not look up to see the sky shift. Instead, the whole horizon curves sideways. Your sense of direction floats away, and you let it. You are not lost, you are simply untethered. This is a place where seasons last decades. A single summer or winter stretches across years. You are floating inside a planet that rolls like a barrel through space. And somehow, it makes everything feel more relaxed. The air is made of hydrogen and helium, with a touch of methane. The methane is what gives Uranus its signature colour. You cannot smell it, you cannot taste it, but you feel it in the way the light moves. Soft, filtered, like sunlight passing through seawater. The sun is so far away now that it is barely a bright dot in the distance. You do not miss it. The light here is quiet, gentle. Like the world has dimmed its brightness, just so you can rest your eyes. Temperatures dip unimaginably low. This is one of the coldest places you have ever been, but the cold does not bite. It does not sting your fingers or make your skin tighten. It presses around you softly, like a breeze made of ice that never touches the bone. You feel calm, completely calm. You are not shivering. You are drifting in a place where everything has slowed down to the pace of a yawn. There are no storms to flee, no gravity to anchor you with discomfort. Uranus pulls you inward gently. You are heavier here than you are on Earth, but not much. The difference is enough to notice when you move, but not enough to bother you. You float as if you weigh nothing, but your presence still feels real. You are not invisible here. You are part of the atmosphere. Below you, clouds form in thin, stretched-out layers. Ammonia and water, frozen into strange shapes, spiral slowly beneath you like underwater snowdrifts. Somewhere much deeper, hidden far beneath the haze, lies a possible ocean. It is not a sea as you know it. It is made of water, methane, and ammonia. It is hot, not cold, boiling, compressed, and electric. They say it may be an ocean of slush and ice, super pressurized and strange. You cannot see it, but you feel it, humming faintly beneath the cloud floor, like the echo of something alive. Lightning flickers in the deep sometimes, but not often. The light is not sharp. It blooms slowly, glowing softly for a second or two before fading. Even the electricity here moves slower, more politely. It waits for your attention before it shows itself. You try to speak, but no words come out. That is all right. Uranus is not a place for speaking. It is a place for listening. Not with your ears, with your skin, with your thoughts, with that quiet part of you that remembers what it felt like to be inside a womb, cradled, weightless, still. Somewhere nearby, the wind drifts past. It is fast, over 500 miles per hour, but it does not hit you. You only feel the edge of it, brushing past like a whisper against your arm. This is not Earth's wind. It has no scent of trees or dust. Just motion, pure and simple. You close your eyes. It does not make a difference. Open or closed, the world feels the same. Peaceful, frozen, gentle. The pressure here is building the deeper you drift, but you are not crushed. Your body has adjusted. As if Uranus has made a space just for you. A gentle pocket in its otherwise wild atmosphere. So you could rest here as long as you like. You turn slowly. There is no up, no down, just directionless softness. Every inch of this planet seems wrapped in fabric, a cool, endless fabric that rustles without sound. You feel like you're inside the lining of a coat made for the cosmos. You wonder who else has been here. No one. Only machines, silent, one-eyed explorers that passed by for a moment and left. But you are here now, really here, inside the silence, inside the blue, inside a planet that moves sideways through space, unbothered by how different it is. You understand that now. Being sideways does not mean being wrong. It means you are not in a rush. You are not trying to look like anyone else. You are simply being. And here, that is more than enough. You drift lower, slipping deeper into the velvet hush that is Uranus. The air thickens slightly around you, not uncomfortably, but with the sensation that you're entering a space that has not been touched for eons. A kind of forgotten chamber, suspended inside a sky that never ends. You are not falling. There is no rush here, no urgency. You are simply being carried, as if the planet has gently curled its fingers around you and decided to keep you company for a while. The further down you go, the bluer it gets. The sky folds into darker hues, slowly tinting the space around you into a marine twilight. Every colour on Earth feels noisy in comparison. Here, even the most vibrant tones speak in a whisper. Pale turquoise fades into sea glass green, then melts into a midnight navy that pulses faintly like breath. You are beginning to understand what it feels like to live inside colour, not to look at it, to live inside it. Above you, the winds howl silently, roaring faster than any hurricane ever born on Earth. They reach speeds of up to 900 kilometers per hour, but you do not feel them. You are nestled in a tranquil layer that has carved out a sanctuary for your body to rest. The great howling rivers of air spiral far overhead like ghostly highways of motion. You know they are there, but their violence cannot touch you. Not here. You begin to wonder why Uranus is so cold, colder than any other planet in the solar system, even colder than Neptune, which floats farther away from the sun. And then you feel it. Not the temperature itself, but the absence. Uranus does not release warmth the way other gas giants do. It hoards its heat, keeping it buried deep below, like secrets locked in a diary that no one reads. This chill is not cruel, it is serene, a kind of cold that slows your thoughts until they drift like feathers in syrup. You are not freezing. You are hibernating while awake. As you descend further, you become aware of something strange. You are not just floating inside gas. Beneath these ghostly layers, the planet holds a strange treasure. Scientists think Uranus might contain a layer of exotic ice, but not like the kind you knew back home. This ice is dense, pressurized beyond imagination. Within it, carbon atoms could squeeze into crystals, and those crystals might become diamonds. You feel a slow tickle in your imagination as the idea settles in. Diamonds, not scattered across a beach or hidden in mountain seams, but falling like rain inside a planet. A rain of gemstones created not by magic, but by physics and time, and the patient squeezing of atoms in the deep dark belly of Uranus. You smile softly. Somewhere far beneath your feet, diamonds might be forming even now, cascading down into an ocean that has never felt sunlight. Still deeper, the gravity begins to feel a little stronger. You are not being pulled, you are being guided. Uranus's gravity is only slightly less than Earth's. Familiar, but dulled, like walking with heavy boots in a dream. You are aware of your limbs again. Your arms drift slowly when you move them, but they feel heavier than before. Not unpleasantly so, just enough to remind you that this place has weight. It is not just clouds and sky, it is real, and it is watching you. The magnetic field here is not gentle. It is strange, tilted, twisted, lopsided. Unlike Earth's clean north and south poles, Uranus has magnetic poles that wander, off-center and unpredictable, like the planet itself. You sense the magnetic currents moving through you, brushing past your skin like invisible threads. It feels like being part of a great slow heartbeat, one that pulses sideways and sings through ice. You listen. There is no noise, but there is pressure, like standing beneath deep water. You cannot hear it, but you can feel it, a presence that hums beneath your awareness. You imagine the magnetic field wrapping itself around the planet in tilted arcs, glowing silently like invisible auroras that you cannot see but somehow sense in your fingertips. Around you, no life stirs, no birds, no insects, no rustling leaves. Yet strangely, it does not feel lonely. The silence is so complete, so full that it feels like company, as if the planet is keeping you in good ancient company by saying nothing at all. You do not speak either. You just breathe, slowly, calmly. Each inhale feels like it takes a minute, each exhale like the turning of a tide. You remember that Uranus has rings, not as many or as famous as Saturn's, but real and thin and dark. If you looked up now, with the right kind of eyes, you might see them stretching above you, like faint lines drawn in ink on a piece of black glass. They are made of dust and fragments, small things, things that chose not to fall into the planet, and instead hover endlessly around it, like forgotten notes in a symphony that never ends. There are moons too, 27 of them, all named after Shakespearean characters: Oberon, Titania, Ariel, Miranda. You cannot see them from where you are, but you feel their pull. They drift around the planet like soft memories, distant and silent. You think of them like lullabies circling a cradle, each one carrying stories in their silence. Your body does not ache, your mind does not race. There is no future here, no past, just this moment, floating in the quiet breath of a planet that has spun on its side for billions of years, undisturbed, unnoticed. And now, you are here. Not to fix anything, not to change anything, just to exist. And in this stillness, you finally understand what rest means. It is not sleep, it is not stillness. It is the freedom to drift without destination, to float without fear, to feel the slow, deep breath of a sideways world, and know that you are safe within it. The sunlight barely touches this place. Even when it's daytime, the light here is faint, almost embarrassed. It reaches you after a long journey of 3 billion kilometers, tired and quiet. It glows like a candle across a snowy field, casting the sky in a permanent shade of dusky teal. You forget what sharp light looks like. Your eyes relax. You do not need to squint. The darkness is soft here. Not scary, just slow. You float lower and the pressure thickens again. Not to crush you, but to remind you where you are. There is a density in the air that feels like the silence of an old library. Every molecule around you feels heavy with history, like it remembers things you've never known. Your hands drift in front of you, moving through invisible molasses. You are not in gas anymore, you are in memory. The clouds around you ripple with ammonia and methane colouring the sky in faded sapphire swirls. There is no scent, only sensation. Every inch of your skin hums softly with the touch of this strange atmosphere. You are inside something living, but ancient. It does not speak, it only watches. You begin to feel something new, a quiet buzzing beneath your spine. Not painful, not electric, just awareness. Uranus does not have a surface the way Earth does. There is no ground to land on, but somewhere down there, deep below the layers of gas, there is an ocean. Not of water, of icy slush, ammonia, methane. Water under so much pressure it forgets how to be liquid. Scientists believe it may be an ionic ocean, a place where water becomes charged, where ions drift like fireflies in deep mist. You are not there yet, but you feel it, like a whisper brushing against your thoughts. And somewhere, even deeper than that, there may be a core, not hot like Jupiter's, not glowing with molten fury like Earth's, cold, quiet, steady, a core that doesn't blaze but endures, a heavy heart made of rock and ice that has not shifted in billions of years. You can't see it, but your chest tightens slightly, as if it's pulsing in rhythm with your own heartbeat. Gravity holds you close but never grabs, it lets you move slowly. Every motion feels like swimming through memory. Nothing jerks, nothing rushes. Your arms sway like kelp in a sleeping ocean. Every time you blink, it feels like the closing of a chapter. Every time you open your eyes again, it feels like starting over. You look upward now, through the thickening layers, up past the bands of ammonia haze, through the lazy spirals of methane clouds, all the way to the place where the rings shimmer faintly in the thin sunlight. They are still there. You had forgotten them for a moment. So quiet, so thin. Unlike Saturn's grand bands, the rings of Uranus are narrow and dark, made of particles no larger than gravel, some no bigger than dust, and yet they circle this sleeping giant with such gentle precision, like the orbiting thoughts of a planet lost in its own dreams. The air feels different now. You notice a slight warmth under your fingertips, a rare phenomenon on this frigid world. Uranus occasionally experiences storms, not the explosive kind that tear open the skies. These storms are more like cosmic sighs, slow build-ups of pressure that swirl and unravel in silence. If you were to see one now, it would look like a pale ghost stretching across the upper clouds, silently spinning for days. You feel the edge of one nearby. It moves around you like silk. You wonder again how the planet ended up like this, tilted on its side, spinning like a barrel instead of a top. Something hit it once, long ago, a world-shattering impact that sent the whole planet reeling, and yet it kept spinning, and spinning, and spinning. For billions of years, it has moved through space like a sideways dream, never correcting itself, never asking why. The moons have shifted position. You see one now, a small icy sphere drifting in the dim light. It might be Miranda, a moon so scarred and folded that it looks like a shattered puzzle glued back together. Its cliffs rise taller than any on Earth. Some may stretch 20 kilometers into the sky. You imagine standing at the top of one, looking down at the fractured ice plains below. the silence would be even deeper there. The gravity so light you might forget your weight entirely. And then there is the sound, or rather, the absence of it. There are no rustling trees, no humming insects, no distant howls or chirps, but your ears are not empty. They are filled with the sound of your own breathing, a slow, steady rhythm, the only reminder that you are alive inside this drifting cradle of frost. Every now and then, your suit gives a soft chime, a friendly one, a little confirmation that you are still connected, still monitored, still safe. It is the only mechanical sound for thousands of kilometers in any direction. You smile, not because you're amused, but because it feels like companionship. Here, everything is exaggerated and muted at the same time. The cold is deeper than anything you have ever felt. The sky is bluer than anything you have ever seen. The silence is louder than any room you've ever entered. And yet you are calm. Nothing hurts. Nothing demands your attention. You are simply floating in the breath of a planet that does not care if it is seen. And somehow that brings peace. You are here, not as a conqueror or a visitor. You are here as part of it. As if, for a little while, Uranus has allowed you to become a thought inside its endless sleep. A slow dream drifting through methane clouds, wrapped in the hush of cold and time. You arrive not with a crash, not with a bang, but with a slow, quiet exhale into the blue. Neptune greets you, not like a host, but like a distant ocean you never knew you missed. You are not falling. You are drifting downward through the softest storm you have ever felt. The clouds are a deep, endless blue. Not the blue of the sky back home, but the kind of blue you only see in dreams. A blue that feels like velvet and sounds like a sigh. The air here is thick with secrets. You can almost hear them, but they never quite form words, only feelings. There is something ancient in this place, something that has never spoken aloud. And now you are here, sinking slowly into it, becoming part of that silence. Above you the winds scream, but down where you are, it is quiet. The upper atmosphere of Neptune holds the fastest winds in the solar system. Faster than sound, they rip across the cloud tops at nearly 2,000 kilometers per hour. But they do not touch you, not yet. You are beneath the roar, in the stillness between breaths. You feel their presence above, like waves crashing far offshore. Your suit adjusts, sealing warmth gently around you. Without it, you would freeze in seconds. The temperatures here hover around -220 degrees, so cold that even the air seems to shiver. But you are held, not frozen. The warmth within your suit feels like a blanket, pulled snug around your shoulders on a snowy morning. You glance to your side and see a cloud drifting by like an enormous wisp of whipped frost. It curls and sways with a strange grace, barely noticing your presence. It is made mostly of methane. On Earth, methane is a gas, but here it is part of the air itself, weaving strange patterns across the sky. It gives Neptune its iconic colour, a blue so rich it feels alive. As you drift lower, you begin to feel the pressure building. Not crushing, not sudden, just heavier. Like an invisible hand resting on your shoulders, slowly growing more thoughtful. You float deeper into the planet, and every meter brings new textures. The gas thickens into a kind of mist, then into something heavier, almost like liquid. But not water, not anything you've felt before. Somewhere far beneath you, scientists believe there may be an ocean, not like the seas back home. This one may be filled with a strange, slushy mixture of water, ammonia and methane. They call it a superionic ocean, a place where ice may become so compressed that it behaves like metal, where electrical currents could flow through the frozen dark. You do not see it yet, but you feel its gravity, pulling you with a quiet hum. And below that, they believe diamonds might fall like rain. You think of it as legend, but here, the chemistry begins to make sense. The pressure is immense, the methane splits apart, the carbon compacts, and somewhere below, glittering pieces may drift slowly down, like snow in reverse. You smile, even though you cannot see them. Just the idea of diamond rain makes this strange blue world feel even stranger. The gravity here is gentle, almost like Earth's. You do not feel heavy or light. just steady. The planet's mass tugs at you softly, guiding you downward like a lullaby. You close your eyes for a moment, just to feel the motion. You are not moving fast, but you are moving, always deeper, always further from the sun. You remember that Neptune is the farthest planet in our system. It takes sunlight over 4 hours to reach here. By the time the light arrives, it is tired. It casts no strong shadows. It barely warms the upper clouds. And yet, this world holds the most violent storms in the solar system. A contradiction that makes perfect sense once you're here. One of those storms begins to form near you. You do not run. You simply observe. It starts as a ripple, a tremble in the clouds. Then it gathers shape, a dark oval, spinning silently like an ancient eye, the great dark spot, a storm larger than Earth. You drift at its edge. The winds scream above, but you are calm. The storm is not angry, it is focused. It has been spinning for years, maybe longer, carving itself into the atmosphere like a tattoo of motion. Lightning crackles within it, not loud, not flashing, just faint glimmers like distant stars. The thunder never reaches you. Only the pressure does, a subtle tightening in the air. You move slightly to one side, watching the swirling clouds pass with impossible grace. Far below, deeper than even your thoughts can reach, lies Neptune's core. Maybe rock, maybe ice. Nobody knows for sure. What they do know is that Neptune gives off more heat than it receives. It glows quietly from within, like a sleeping candle under a mountain of frost. The warmth seeps upward through the layers, feeding the storms above. You imagine pressing your hands to that warmth, deep in the dark, and feeling the pulse of the planet beneath your fingertips. You look up again, through the haze, through the softness. Somewhere far above, Neptune's faint rings shimmer against the starlight. They are made of dust, tiny fragments, that orbit the planet in near invisibility. They do not brag, they do not boast. They simply exist, quiet and proud, circling this cold blue giant like whispered thoughts. Then one of Neptune's moons passes by. You do not know which. It could be Triton. A strange place. It orbits backwards against Neptune's spin. A captured world, scientists think, taken long ago and held ever since. Triton is icy, barren, and yet filled with frozen geysers that may erupt nitrogen into space. You watch it drift like a marble across the velvet sky. There is no up or down here, no left or right, only inward and outward. You close your eyes again and listen. Neptune says nothing, but you feel it. A slow vibration in your bones, the rhythm of a world that has never stopped spinning, never stopped dreaming, never stopped storming through the farthest reaches of the sun's embrace. You are here, you are calm, you are floating inside the storm that forgot the sun. And now you're not just drifting through it, you're surviving in it. But Neptune does not make it easy. You adjust the soft, pressurized lining of your suit. It hisses faintly, balancing the crushing pressure from the ever-thickening air around you. Without it, you'd be flattened like a petal under stone. The atmosphere here is a silent weight, built from layers of hydrogen, helium, and methane, stacked upon each other in a never-ending exhale. It presses in from all directions, so your suit presses back, like a protective shell. One that hugs you, holds you, keeps you in a delicate balance between what wants to crush you and what lets you float. Temperature is another silent killer here. It is a deep and constant cold, colder than anything on your old planet. Your suit's core, hidden in a sleek backpack, hums gently, circulating warmth like a mother's heartbeat. You feel it under your arms, around your ribs, behind your knees. Gentle, persistent. Without it, your breath would freeze the moment you exhaled. But in here, inside this tiny womb of warmth, you are protected. The outside may sit at -220 degrees, but you are as snug as a child tucked in for sleep. Still, you know you cannot stay in one place for long. The winds do not like stillness. They begin to stir, high above your head, long before they arrive. They bend the air around them, not with screams, not with growls, but with pressure. You feel it in your ears, in the soles of your boots, in your pulse. These winds are the fastest in the entire solar system, sliding across the planet faster than bullets, faster than storms back home. But not where you are. Here, in this deeper zone, they are whispers. They rush high above you, pushing the methane clouds into long silver-blue streaks that remind you of brushstrokes on water. You wonder what it would take to build a home here. Not a house, not a bunker, something different, something that breathes with the planet rather than hides from it. You imagine a floating habitat, shaped like a giant jellyfish, anchored to the denser layers of the atmosphere. Its body would be built from smart materials, capable of shifting with pressure, pulsing with warmth, absorbing light from the dim, faraway sun and turning it into energy. The solar rays here are thin and tired, but not gone. A clever machine could sip them slowly, like warm tea left by the windowsill. Power would be precious. Every light, every breath would be chosen carefully. Inside this floating sanctuary, there would be no sharp edges. Everything would curve softly. Cushions of memory foam, walls that glow faintly instead of buzz with electricity. Air filtered constantly, drawn in from outside, scrubbed of methane, then rebreathed. Water would come from within, recycled in looping systems that never waste a drop. There would be no showers, no faucets, just warm cloths soaked in steam, massaging your skin like the hands of someone who understands tiredness. And food, you would not feast, but you would be fed. Algae grown in biopods, protein printed into chewy, familiar shapes, occasional pockets of real flavour, preserved chocolate perhaps, or spiced tea, opened like gifts when the days grew long. On Neptune, a peppermint lozenge would taste like a memory from Earth, like a season that no longer exists. You begin to picture your routine. Each morning begins with slow stretches in zero gravity. Your muscles are soft now, used to floating. You need motion to stay strong, so you float gently from one chamber to another, trailing your fingers along padded corridors. You peer through thick windows and watch Neptune swirl outside, always blue, always storming, always beautiful. Communication is slow. The signal back to Earth takes 4 hours to arrive. 4 hours for a hello. 4 more for a reply. You send messages, but you do not wait for answers. Instead, you record your thoughts in a journal. You speak them aloud sometimes, into a device that echoes them back in a whisper. You are not lonely. You're accompanied by quiet, and that is different. Sometimes you send probes, small ones. They drop into the deeper layers of the atmosphere, humming quietly until the pressure crushes them. Before they vanish, they beam back images. Strange cloud shapes, temperature spikes, once something that looked like a flicker of light deep in the methane blue. You keep those recordings. They are your souvenirs. You try not to think about the core of Neptune. But you do. They say far beneath the clouds, under the slush and the liquid hydrogen, rests a core of rock and ice. Maybe it glows, maybe it pulses, maybe it hums with the weight of everything above it. You dream of it sometimes, a chamber beneath all the storms, still, black, warm. You wonder if anyone will ever reach it, or if it will always remain a myth, a quiet thought buried inside a giant, and still you survive. Your heartbeat is your metronome, your breath a soft rhythm. The walls of your floating home creak now and then, but not with strain, with life. The structure adapts, flexes, adjusts. Neptune does not attack you. It simply reminds you that you are not in charge here. You are a guest, a very small guest in a very large place. You rest often. Your sleep is deep. The constant cold outside, the lack of sunlight, the quiet hum of machines, they all lull you into dreams. And the dreams here are different. They stretch, they swirl. Sometimes you are floating through Neptune's rings, which sparkle faintly like old ice. Sometimes you are riding a wind current, eyes closed, arms wide. Sometimes you are falling through the planet itself, deeper and deeper, until light becomes sound. But always you are held. That is what Neptune does. It holds you. It does not welcome. It does not reject. It simply allows. And somehow that is enough. You sip warm broth from a sealed pouch, watching a pale blue sunrise ripple across the horizon. The storm above you has shifted again. It is curling now, reshaping itself like a painter changing his mind. You blink slowly. Your home hums behind you. Your suit glows gently, cradling you in warmth. You survived another day on Neptune. You float, you rest, you drift. The storm keeps spinning. So do you. You step gently now, boots sinking softly into the strangest silence you've ever felt. Not the absence of noise, but the presence of stillness. Triton surrounds you like a forgotten thought, a place that hums with ancient cold. You breathe slowly. Your visor clouds slightly as warmth meets chill. Here, even the silence has texture. It is the kind that presses into your suit and tells you, without sound, that you have arrived somewhere few have ever dared to dream of. This is Neptune's moon, yes, but Triton is more than a moon. It is a riddle shaped like a world, a captured traveller, not born here, but taken. Once it drifted freely through space, maybe part of another system entirely. Then Neptune's gravity reached out like a hand and caught it. Now it spirals the wrong way, orbiting against the spin of its master, whispering its secrets in reverse. Your boots leave crisp impressions in the frost. The ground crunches like powdered glass. Below the surface, layers of ice stretch deep, formed not only from water but from nitrogen and methane. The sun is distant and tired, a pale dot hanging low behind Neptune's massive curve. You can barely feel its touch, and yet there is light, soft, diffuse, the kind of glow that comes before a snowfall or after a dream. Triton is cold in ways your body struggles to understand, colder than Neptune, colder than any place you have stood. Your suit adapts, thickening its warmth layer, feeding you small pulses of heat near your chest and spine. You feel it like soft breaths against your skin. The air here is not breathable. It is thin, barely clinging to the surface, mostly nitrogen. You inhale deeply from your oxygen reserve and taste the metal of the tank. It comforts you. You walk farther slowly, past spires of frozen gas that have burst through the surface. They look like geysers made of ink, black scars frozen mid-scream. Triton is alive, just very quietly. Below the frost, the planet shifts. Gas builds, pressure grows, and every so often it exhales. You pause beside one of these frozen fountains. Its rim is layered in ice crystals, sharp and delicate, like spiderwebs etched in frost. You reach out, brushing the edge with your glove. It crumbles silently. You continue onward, toward the southern pole, where the terrain changes. Ridges rise like frozen waves. Some curl and collapse, shaped by the slow dance of ice beneath. This land has been folded over itself. No craters, no fresh wounds, just smooth, ancient patterns that speak of invisible motion. Triton may seem still, but it moves, slowly, secretly. Beneath your boots, the entire world rearranges itself. 1 inch per century, you find shelter beside a rock formation. Although rock may not be the right word, it is more like a monument of hardened ice, shaped by winds you cannot feel, and years you cannot count. You lean against it, letting the cold press through your suit, just a little. It is oddly soothing, as if the planet is reminding you that time here moves differently. That warmth and urgency are not welcome, that only patience thrives. You unpack your field kit. A small pod unfolds beside you, forming a bubble of pressurized air. Inside, lights glow like fireflies. You slip in, removing your gloves, letting your fingers feel warmth again. You sip from a pouch of sweet liquid, your breath fogging the clear dome. Outside, Triton waits. Its surface shimmers faintly. A wind rises and falls, too thin to hear, but strong enough to leave patterns in the frost. From here, Neptune fills half the sky. It looms above you, a giant ball of swirling blues and invisible storms. You watch it rotate slowly, its cloud bands moving like silk. The planet's shadow sweeps across Triton's ice fields, changing the colours from silver to lavender. You are so far from Earth, so far from anything that remembers trees or oceans or laughter, yet somehow this moment feels fuller than any morning you've ever had. Triton has no cities, no songs, no lights, but it has its own rhythm. You feel it in your heartbeat, in the soft clicks of the habitat pod, in the way your thoughts slow down here, untangling like threads drifting in still water. There is nothing urgent, nothing loud, no alerts, no deadlines, just a frozen world that asks nothing of you except stillness. And in return, it shows you quiet wonders. A patch of ground nearby begins to tremble, a slow vibration. You watch as a plume of dark gas erupts upward, climbing 10 kilometers into the air before fading into ice dust. A nitrogen geyser. You smile inside your helmet. This was what you came for, to witness, to listen, to be small. You record it, but not for science, for memory. Because someday, you may forget what it felt like to stand on a moon that was never meant to be here, beneath a sky ruled by a planet you cannot touch, while time itself slowed down and let you breathe. As night falls, if you can call it night, Triton becomes a canvas of shadows. The sun dips lower, the stars emerge one by one, sharp and bright, and Neptune glows above you like a lantern in the dark. You close your eyes, your suit keeps you warm, your pod keeps you safe. Triton keeps you company, and somewhere beneath your boots, the frozen heart of this wayward moon keeps ticking, just slow enough to hear if you stay quiet long enough. You descend slowly, not by falling, not by plummeting, but by gently sinking, as though Neptune itself is welcoming you inward. The outer clouds part for your craft, like ripples on a still pond. There is no resistance, no sound, just layer after layer of deepening blue. Your fingers rest on the controls, but there is little for you to do now. Everything has been set. The instruments hum softly, whispering data in patterns you've stopped trying to read. What matters now is what you feel. The quiet pressure against the hull, the way your body seems to stretch, not from gravity, but from the weight of wonder. Above you, the atmosphere has sealed itself again. The stars are gone. Sunlight fades into a twilight glow that filters through miles of gas. It becomes hard to tell how far you've come. It no longer matters. You have left the surface behind. Not that Neptune ever had one. Here, there is only depth. Neptune's outer atmosphere is made of hydrogen and helium, spiced with traces of methane. That methane gives it the colour, that sacred endless blue. You float through it now, passing billows of mist, thicker than Earth's densest storm clouds. The winds here are the fastest in the solar system, but you don't feel them. You move with them. You drift as if caught in a dream, slipping sideways through invisible rivers of gas that twist and churn at over 2,000 kilometers an hour. And still, you sink. The pressure builds. Your vessel creaks, not in alarm, but in acknowledgement. It knows the rules of this place. The ship's outer hull shifts slightly, adjusting. A warm hum surrounds you. Your seat vibrates softly, like the purring of some ancient sea creature. This isn't descent anymore. It's surrender. The light fades to ink. All around you, shadows begin to move. Not creatures, not illusions, just patterns. Swirling shapes of gas folding into each other, born from temperatures that could boil away thought. Down here, heat comes from below, not above. Neptune's core burns silently, hidden beneath thousands of kilometers of swirling gas and compressed oceans. Yes, oceans. You reach the next layer, where gas becomes something stranger. A kind of superfluid, not quite liquid, not quite plasma. A thick churning soup of water, ammonia, and methane under unimaginable pressure. Your ship sinks through it as though dipping into warm honey. Outside, colours begin to swirl. Electric blues, soft purples, faint glimmers of green that vanish if you stare too long. The atmosphere is laced with ion storms. Lightning dances sideways across the murk, never touching anything. The light it gives is brief, eerie, almost sad. It reminds you of deep-sea creatures blinking in the dark, hoping for company that never comes. Still deeper. Now the weight presses against your ribs. Your suit adjusts, pressing back gently. You breathe more slowly. The air inside your helmet tastes faintly metallic, but it is fresh. You feel safe. The ship is your cocoon. You are its heartbeat. Together you drift through layers never touched by light, where no sounds have ever echoed, where Neptune keeps its secrets, stitched shut with silence. Then you feel it, not impact, not arrival, but presence. Below you now is the mantle, a sea of superpressurized ice. Not cold though, this ice is strange, warm, dense. The molecules are locked so tightly together that they behave more like metal than frozen water. Scientists call it hot ice. You call it impossible. And yet here it is. You hover just above it, watching the clouds below become slower, thicker, more deliberate. Lightning strikes again. It does not crackle. It rumbles like a memory being unburied. And then you remember what lies beneath even this. Deeper still, past the ice mantle, Neptune hides a core of rock and metal. Perhaps the size of Earth itself. Perhaps smaller. No one truly knows. You won't see it. You won't reach it. But you feel it. A pulse. Dull. Steady. Not mechanical. Not alive, but something in between. A rhythm that has existed for billions of years, echoing into the gas above, shaping storms the size of continents. The great dark spot, a storm larger than Earth. It spins somewhere above you now, far above, on the other side of this churning world. Born from this pulse, fed by it, you close your eyes. The cabin lights dim to a soft violet. Your breath is slow now, your body lighter or heavier. It is hard to say. You float in a fluid world without sky or ground, only blue and deeper blue. Every part of Neptune seems alive, not like an organism, but like a memory stretched into shape. Your instruments flicker. Somewhere nearby, magnetic fields twist around you like ribbons. Neptune's magnetic field is tilted and strange, not like Earth's. It wobbles, it dances. Sometimes it pulls down, sometimes sideways. You are never quite sure which way is up, but that's all right. There is no up here, no down, only the drift. You imagine what life might feel like here. Not the life you know, not people or animals, but something else. Patterns that think slowly, creatures made of static. Perhaps they never need to move. Perhaps they dream in colours we cannot see. You drift longer. Your body hums in time with the engines. The darkness outside begins to sparkle faintly. Crystals of methane ice float past, forming trails like snowfall suspended in syrup. They glow with stolen light from deep below. Your ship's sensors say nothing. The data is meaningless now. This moment is beyond math. You drift still deeper. And somewhere within that never-ending ocean of pressure and gas, you feel something quiet, a kind of welcome. Neptune does not speak, but it allows you to be here, to sink, to rest, to be small. You float, you exhale, you sleep. And now, the journey ends. You float in silence, not above one planet or another, but in the calm space between it all. The solar system breathes around you. Planets spin quietly in their orbits like sleeping giants. Some glowing, some frozen, some wrapped in storms that never end. All of them waiting. Listening, remembering your footsteps. You drift past rings made of ice, winds that roar louder than sound, skies painted orange, green, blue. You've walked on glowing clouds, slid across frozen crusts, danced between moons, and even stood in the fire of the sun without burning. You did what no one else could do. You lived where no life was meant to exist, and you made it feel like home. Each world gave you something different. Mercury gave you heat and silence. Venus gave you pressure and beauty hidden beneath storms. Mars gave you dust and longing. Jupiter gave you wonder and gravity's pull. Saturn gave you dreams wrapped in rings. Uranus gave you tilt and twilight. Neptune gave you oceans of wind and deep blue whispers. And the sun gave you warmth that touched your bones. You didn't just visit them, you belonged to them. And now you rest. The stars do not rush. Time here is soft. It melts gently, flowing like honey. You could float for hours, days, forever, and nothing would ask you to move. Nothing would hurry you along. You're exactly where you are meant to be. Far behind you, Earth turns slowly. That little blue dot, your first home. But here, out in the quiet, among the planets and stardust, you found something new. A second home made of dreams and heat and impossible skies. You close your eyes. Everything fades to black, but not the lonely kind of black. The safe kind. The kind of darkness that tucks you in and hums softly. A cradle carved from starlight. You breathe in, you let go. The universe keeps spinning. And somewhere, in the soft folds of space, you are still exploring. Still dreaming. Still drifting through the stars. Good night, traveller. Sleep well.